All right, what we'll do is we'll get started and people can jump in as we head along. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Bear with me 2 seconds. All right. So what we're going to do today is we are here to do the social media strategy, the 2020 business guide. So let's talk about social media. So social media has changed the way we live our lives, from where we get our information to the way we interact with our loved ones. I know that I've been connecting with my family and friends using social over the last couple of weeks during this lockdown. So it's really quite a dynamic source of information and source of connecting with other people. So let's just look at some key numbers. The population in New Zealand is 4.9 million. Of those 4.9 million, 90% of those are internet users. So I'll just make that. Actually, it's okay. If you would like me to make the text bigger, can you just say in the chat box and I'll do that. And also if you have any questions, just down the bottom there, further over, is an ask a question button. You can click on that to ask any questions. I'm happy to answer them as we go through. So 4.7 million internet subscribers in New Zealand. That's 90-something% of the 93% of New Zealanders are plugged into the internet. So annually, retail spending is $4.8 billion online. I know that not all of our businesses that are in the call today are online businesses, but this is a significant figure that obviously, we'd love to get a part of. So when we think about the online users, we're talking about here to talk about social media. So in New Zealand, 3.6 million, or 73% of visitors, 75% of Kiwis are social media users, right? And interestingly, we've got 4.9 million mobile phones. It's 135% of the population have mobile phones due to multiple devices. The average time that Kiwis spend on the internet is 6 hours and 3 minutes. And of that 6 hours and 3 minutes, they are on social for 1 hour and 43 minutes of a day. This is a significant amount of time when we think about how they're using social media. So, right, text is good. That's awesome. I'll be jumping backwards and forwards. Let me know if there's anything. I've got my laptop over here, so I'm just looking at keynotes, and I know you're up there. So let's talk about how people are using social media. So we've got 3.6 million Kiwis active on social media. 75% of Kiwis are social media users. That's up 3.5%, which is, it is what it is. But 98% of Kiwis are accessing social media via mobile. Now, you might be wondering why I'm talking about mobile being so important. When we consider how our customers engage with us, we need to really think about how they would engage from social into our websites or our online portals. So just taking this back to the e-commerce side of things, 80% of Kiwis have searched for a product or service to buy. 90% of those have visited an online retail store. 74% of those have purchased from any device, where interestingly, people are more likely to purchase online via their mobile device. So when we're creating content for social or our own online web portals, we need to be thinking about it from a mobile first perspective. Of course, Google with their search engines, they changed their search engine algorithm. They changed their algorithm to promote mobile first. So we really need to be considering this when we're thinking about our online presence. So when we're thinking about brand discovery, so for our businesses, we need to know how our customers can find us. Word of mouth referrals, recommendations, are the most popular source of referrals. Search engines come in a close second, tied with ads on television. Now, interestingly to know, when we're thinking about this, I'll circle back. So we've got in-store promotions, we've got ads on social media, which are tied, and then followed closely by brand products, branded product websites, product catalogs, or recommendations in social media. So recommendations in social media and ads on social are really important venues for traffic. Now, if we can think about the cost of producing those contents, a 30-second ad on primetime TV in New Zealand costs $19,000. That's for 30 seconds. Whereas for us as business owners in New Zealand, we can create content for social at a fraction of that cost. Often it's free, and we're going to run through a couple of tips and tricks for that later. Okay. So this is where Kiwis are spending their time on social. Interestingly, the most popular social media platform is YouTube. Everyone from your parents through your kids use YouTube. Peppa Pig's a firm favourite in our house, the 2-year-old. Facebook Messenger, which we've got as a separate line item there. Instagram, Pinterest, WhatsApp, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter, Skype. We've got Neighbourly, Reddit, Viber, Twitch, WeChat, and Tumblr. Interestingly, missing off this list is TikTok, which we'll talk about later. TikTok is a video sharing application. They don't actually publicly release their user data, but it was the most downloaded app in the Apple App Store in Q1 19. So we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Just checking in. Are there any questions that, just type in any questions when you have them. So e-commerce spend by category, it's just interesting to have a think about this, because why would we want to engage in social media if we're not capitalizing on it? So obviously the fashion industry is massive. Travel and accommodation is huge online, and it's going to be something that we need to promote as tourism operators in New Zealand. Digital music, gaming, personal food and care. I know that we've got a cafe on here, so that's one of the spaces that you'll be looking at. So Kiwis are spending money in these markets. It's not a new thing, so we just want to think about these. So I'm going to run through these are some of the actions that we've got. So we want to set some good goals for our business. So we want to set goals that make sense for your business when we come to social media. We want to increase brand awareness. So these are ideas around making sure that more people know about your brand. So these might be tag a friend, win a prize, sharing content, just being regularly there so people are more aware of you, so they know about your business. It might be around generating leads. So these are sales focused, generating leads, sales and leads. So you might run a promotion on social media. You might think about offering coupon codes or deals like that. You might want to grow your audience, so get more followers online. You could want to increase community engagement. So if we look at what Funko did, they're asking lots of questions, thinking about how questions can be used to promote, to increase engagement. We've got 138 people talking about that particular tweet. Or it might be like the makeup company on the right-hand side there. They are asking, what's your favorite lipstick? And they've got 2,554 likes through social. It might be about increasing web traffic. So we've talked a little bit about e-commerce. So these are goals that you would want to set when starting out in your social media. Now, that, we really want to set our goal for our social media strategy early, so we're really focused on what we're trying to achieve. So, action step. The next thing we want to think about is where is your target? We want to research your target audience. Where are they hanging out online, and how are they talking? How are they engaging? Just checking in. No questions. Okay, cool. So we can make it when we're marketing. Making assumptions is a dangerous game for all of us. I remember a rugby coach, I'm sure, saying this: making an assumption makes an ass out of you and me. Demographics wise, we want to think about where these people are hanging out. So we just have to run through the platforms and think about where they are, and some tips and tricks for each platform. So Facebook audience overview. There are 3 million Kiwis on Facebook, apparently, according to their information. 75, so you can reach 75% of the population. Half of them are 53% are female and 46 represent as male. So this is US demographics data. I'd imagine it to be relatively similar in New Zealand, maybe a little bit of a shift around income and education stuff. So we're looking at the population sitting there in that middle range. We've got quite a broad range from 13 to 65 plus, with it being quite popular with the 18 to 49 bracket. So engagement benchmarks. These are the average people that engage with a post or on Facebook. So the average engagement rates for any Facebook post of any kind is 3.5%. The average engagement rate for video posts, which is interesting, is 4.81%. So looking across the board, is the images and videos are most important. Videos are getting the best engagement on Facebook compared to any other types of posts. So tips for Facebook. Focus on Facebook content for Facebook groups. Facebook is changing from being very public, where everyone can see your posts, to being very private, where people belong to hyper specialized or hyper niche groups. So if you think about, I'm in Paikakariki, I belong to the Paikakariki Facebook page, and I know there's one for Rawiri South, Kapiti, Otaki, every suburb in New Zealand. There is also industry-specific ones. So I know of Paul, who's on the call today, has set up a tradie-focused Facebook group for Kapiti. There's Facebook focus groups for dog breeds through to business ideas, business niches. Belong to those groups, add content and add value. Really important from your Facebook page, your business Facebook page, that you respond to people. Don't just paste links. Be engaged and share and be engaged with those people. Add video and go live. Facebook has the ability to go live. It's really easy to do on your phone. Uploading video is easy as well. Use Messenger to engage. So Messenger is the Facebook chat tool. It is really easy to use that to engage in conversation with clients or customers. You can also embed the Messenger app on your web page, which gives another way to increase engagement. You can also use chatbots as part of the Messenger to automate some of that. And also the other thing to consider is using Facebook ads or boosted posts to increase your organic reach. So Instagram, just thinking about the Instagram demographics, we have the number of Kiwis that are on Instagram. We've got 1.7 million Kiwis on Instagram, representing around about 43% of the population. Instagram's growing, still quite popular with female Kiwis, and also quite popular with male Kiwis. Again, this demographic comes from the United States, so similar but different. But we can see that the age brackets are skewed more towards the younger demographics. So the 13 to 29-year-olds, it's really popular. Not as popular as Facebook, but still very popular. So some tips for Instagram: make sure that you switch your profile from a personal profile to a business profile. Create a content calendar, so making sure that your content is happening regularly. Keep your posting cadence up. So we all know about Instagram pages where the last post was 23 weeks ago or less. So make sure that you're posting with a regular cadence. So once a week, once a day, whatever works with your demographic. So improve your grams with a photo shoot, editing and design. So making sure that if your photos are, if you're using Instagram as a key part of your social media strategy, make sure that those images look banging. They need to be absolutely fantastic. That's where you're telling your story. Utilize stories and Instagram TV. Again, these are short-lived but very powerful parts of the Instagram platform. Diversify your use of hashtags. So Instagram uses hashtags. Instagram uses hashtags for searching. So use 3 to 5 hashtags. There's no need to come up with 30 hashtags. You can test your engagement based on the hashtags that you use and then work it through. I can see that there's a question here. Embedding Facebook Messenger into an existing website is a straightforward process for a web developer. Currently redoing your website and upgrading to an e-commerce platform. Yeah, useful. It's relatively straightforward. There's a plugin. It depends on what software they're using to develop it, but any website developer should be able to do that. So Snapchat. Snapchat in New Zealand is not as popular. We've got 1.4 million Kiwis using Snapchat. We've got 35% of Snapchat's of the population are reachable using Snapchat. It's growing though. It's growing faster than Instagram. Again, it's popular with females a little bit more so than males in New Zealand. This is the US demographic data. Again, really popular with that younger set. So under 29 is as popular as with the 17 to 30-year-olds. So if your market is in that bracket, this is something Snapchat is a platform to consider. So ideas for Snapchat: let your audience know that you're on Snapchat. Cross-promote your Snapchat username. So if you're on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, say, hey, follow me on Snapchat. This is my username. Create an add me URL. So Snapchat has an ability to create an add me URL. Create a snap code, which is a printable, basically a QR code that you can take a photo of it with your Snapchat device, Snapchat app open, and it will automatically link the account to your account. And with Snapchat, it's really, really important to be interacting with other users on Snapchat. The way it works is it's a split system. So the more you engage with others, the better return that you'll get from Snapchat. So Twitter. Twitter in New Zealand doesn't have as much as reach as Snapchat. We've got 730,000 Kiwis on Twitter, 18% of them. They're increasing. The percentage use that's females more skewed towards the males on Twitter. So looking at that demographic data, we can see that showing that skew showing there as well. It's spread quite evenly, but more focused in that 18 to 29 age bracket. Sort of skewed younger, but pretty broad, pretty flat across the range. So for tips for Twitter, make sure your images are optimized to the right dimensions that work on Twitter. Create video content. As we saw with Facebook, video content on all of these platforms is key. Ensure your profile is professional and on brand, and stay on the ball. Twitter is a fast response platform. You want to stay engaged with the conversation, and that means responding quickly and being timely. Okay, so now we're going to talk about LinkedIn. So I'll just bring this up. So LinkedIn, obviously the professional platform. I've heard it described as the place you sign up for when you're looking for a job. It's really it's targeted at professionals. The number of people that LinkedIn suggests they can reach is 2.1 million, which represents 57% of the population. Relatively even split of males and females on LinkedIn, slightly skewed towards the males. And we can see that's represented in the US demographic data too. We can see that the age brackets that are really represented here is that 30 to 49-year-old age bracket, again, still popular with the 50 to 60. So if you are targeting B2B sales to professionals firms, this will be the platform that I would be suggesting you would be leveraging. So tips for LinkedIn: build your business and personal LinkedIn profiles. Make sure you make connections to find new leads. So connect with others, join relevant groups. So the same with Facebook, LinkedIn has the ability to be hyper-focused on professional groups. So for example, there are really specific industry groups. There is really broad industry sector groups, so marketing groups, or there are Small Business New Zealand groups. Video on LinkedIn is a really powerful tool. It's quite often underutilized. So it's a great way to leverage the content that you've got. Create content to position yourself as an expert. LinkedIn is all about expertise and sharing that knowledge. So create white papers, videos, presentations, and share them to position yourself as an expert. YouTube, which we saw was the most popular social media platform with 88% of Kiwis using it. We can see that it's, we don't have any demographic data from New Zealand, but we can use the American data. We can see that it's used by 68% of females and 78% of males, so very popular with both genders. The age brackets, we can see that it's very popular across the board, with a slight decline in those above 50. These are the most popular search terms for YouTube in New Zealand. So we've got songs. A lot of people are looking for music, video games, ASMR, funny, PewDiePie, always say it wrong, PewDiePie, PewDiePie, or how you say it, Baby Shark, BTS, Roblox, karaoke, Billie Eilish, Peppa Pig. These are all popular search terms in New Zealand. So tips for search and for leveraging YouTube. So build your own YouTube brand channel. Consistently create and add compelling videos to your channel. Optimize your video descriptions and thumbnails. Effectively, YouTube is a search engine. So making sure that you have your video descriptions and thumbnails. So the thumbnails are how it appears in the results. The video description is so how YouTube knows what your video is about. If you can add closed captions to your videos, that's also a very powerful technique to increase the SEO. The add YouTube stories, so very similar to Instagram stories or Facebook stories. And one of the other things that you can do is invest in YouTube ads. So Pinterest, again, no local demographic for Pinterest. It's the one I've heard it described as the platform that your mum uses, or you. It's the one where it's very popular with females, really popular in that 49, 30, well, we can see it across the board, but it's the it's where we find engaged pinners who basically they're coveting. 83% of all weekly pinners have made a purchase based on the content they saw from brands on Pinterest. So it's a really highly converting platform if that's your demographic. So for example, if you're a retail store, I would be posting on Pinterest. Some tips for Pinterest. So change over to a business account. Always be thinking about keywords. Pinterest is also relies heavily on search as a search engine. Spend some time replying to and posting to comments. Claim your website and other social media profiles on Pinterest. We want to optimize your boards with keyword-rich description and create multiple pins for the same article. So this is the new kid on the block, TikTok, which we talked about earlier. It has 500 million monthly users. It's really targeted towards the younger crowd. This is the most popular TikTok in New Zealand at the moment. I don't know if that's showing. TikTok revolves around setting either 15-second or 60-second video clips to music or otherwise. It is really popular with the younger set. It is also being used with larger organizations to engage with their market. So this is how the American Red Cross are using it. So, but it's still getting significant views. So that this guy here with his beard, he had 2.1 million views. So what we've done is we've thought about where our customers are and how we can engage them. Now we want to establish the most important metrics for our brand online. So we want to think about, is ROI the most important metric for us? Is the difference between the amount we've spent on the campaign and the amount earned? What I would recommend and what we do with clients is that we choose select the best metric for your business. So if we're thinking about sale, if we're thinking about sales, we want to know how many people have bought your product or service based on your social media. We might be thinking about brand awareness. So how many people have seen your post? We might be thinking about follower numbers. So the number of people who follow your account, has that changed? The impressions, how many times has a post shown up in someone's newsfeed? So just a little bit of difference between reach and impression. Reach is the number of people, and impressions, quite often articles or social media posts can appear multiple times in the same person's newsfeed. So that's where the impressions was different from the reach. Engagement, how many actions have been performed on your post? So that might be liking or liking, sharing, commenting. Conversion rate, the number of visitors who take a desired action. So for example, it might be visit the store, use a contact form, download a document. We also might think about the click-through rate. So how many people click on a specific link compared to the total number of users who viewed it. So that might be connecting to linking through your website. Social media mentions, obviously the number of people who are tagging you on your social media handles or in messages on other posts. Okay, so that's what we want to think about. We want to think about what metrics make sense to your business. We want to dig into what your competitors are doing. So there are a number of different, you have a number of competitors in the same industry using different strategies. It's really good to keep an eye on what they're doing. So how do we spot our social competitors? They might not necessarily, so for example, if you're a retail store, they might not even be in New Zealand, they might be overseas. If you're say a tradie, your tradie competitors might be the things like No Cowboys or other platforms like that. So thinking about how we can spot our competitors, so let's have a look at what we would do. So first thing is we would jump on Google. Google your keywords. So for example, if you've got an ice cream shop, you might Google ice cream. You can also have a look at, I like to, when I'm doing this with clients, I like to look at what best practice is happening overseas. So type in large cities overseas, Los Angeles, London, Sydney, Toronto, wherever, and just compare what other people are doing around the world. Type their names into Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whichever platform you think is the most relevant to your business. Now, and now what we want to have a look at, what they are doing online. So how are they posting? What does it look like? What's their content? What's their cadence? So when did they last post? And when was the time that they posted before that? And is that a regular cadence? How's their engagement rate in comparison to yours? What are people saying about them? And what can you learn from this? So then we take all this information that we've learned about our potential competitors, and then we use that to optimize our own social media strategy. So we can look at the hashtags that they're using and which ones they're getting the most engagement on. And then we rinse and repeat it. So we can use it on ours. And then we also want to look at our analytics as well. So we want to create and curate an engaging social content. We want to stick to themes. So everything that we do, we want to make sure that it is on theme and on point. We don't want to be posting, when we're talking about themes, it might be, for example, if you on Twitter, you might, or on Instagram, say, for example, you might post a theme of, say, for example, you're an ice cream shop, so you want to show photos of your customers enjoying ice creams, but we wouldn't want to stick in the middle of that a photo of your new car, unless it is relevant. Or you might be a tradie and you're posting jobs that you've just completed. You might be comparing before and afters, but you wouldn't want to be coming in with something garish and off-brand. So we want to make sure that the images are looking similar. So there's a theme there, but we also want to have that theme around content, because social media followers will start to expect a certain theme from us. User-generated content. We want to make sure that we're generating user-generated content. Just bring up that. So user-generated content is posts like asking customers to share posts of your product. So for example, using that local tradie or a local cafe. A local cafe, you might get frowned upon if you shared a post in the local community group. So for example, in Pycock here, and said, hey, we've got the best muffins. But if you had a customer post, hey, these guys have the best muffins, it is far more engaging and far more authentic. So you could offer a promotion where if you tag, user-generated content idea for a cafe, tag us in a post and you get a free coffee, or we'll draw a free coffee at the end of the day, or win a hamper or whatever. Interactive content is where you ask those questions, like what we saw earlier with the makeup brand, where they're asking what is the best, this, X or Y, which would you prefer, those are ideas around generating that content. FOMO and stories. I want to generate FOMO. So I want to tap into the customer's fear of missing out. So using time-sensitive content and opportunities so that they feel that they have to engage quickly to take action. So it pops up on your followers feed so stories pop up on your followers feed by default, and then you can use that to help them skip the line, or allow them not to pass up on an opportunity. Okay. Video. So again, video is crucial, and the boom in video is not stopping anytime soon. Consider how minute-long videos could be beneficial for all of your customers. Think about how you can create opportunities for them to engage. So thinking about if you're say, for example, an ice cream shop, you might talk about how to scoop the best scoop. Tradie might be talking about these are 10 things to think about on your next project, or why should you use X product. Sharing as much information as possible. Again, keeping it on theme is a really, really prudent point. Okay. So we're up to 45 minutes, so just check in, see if there's any questions. No questions so far? We've got some people. Okay, no one's asking questions? We're all good at the moment? No one's gone to sleep? Okay, cool, all right, we'll just keep trucking along. Okay, so timeliness is a top priority. So making sure that you post on time is timeliness is a two-way street. You can't always expect your customers to operate on your time, but it's crucial that you respond in a timely manner. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're posting at the best times to engage. We want to make sure that our brand is available to engage with our customers when they want to engage with us. So let's have a look. So we want to make sure that we're posting when our customers are online and engaging. Now this is the Facebook global engagement. Now it's not necessarily, this may not necessarily reflect your brand's audience engagement time. If you are focused on, if your market was particularly skewed to one end or the other, if you're perhaps a gamer market, they might be engaged late evening or early morning. It depends on where your customers sit and their life outside of social media. It's really important that we respond ASAP. People's wait time expectation versus brand response time. Consumers on average expect a response within 4 hours. However, the average brand response is 10 hours. I read another statistic, and I couldn't find it to quote, was that you've got 30 minutes from an engagement, so an email or a message, to respond to that person before they start looking elsewhere. 30 minutes. That that's, if you can do that, you're ahead of the curve by 3.5 hours. So actions. So test, assess, test, and improve. So we want to, by now at the stage, we should have a pretty clear understanding of social media marketing as a broad principle. We want to, without analysing our efforts after we've completed some, undertaken some marketing, Instagram business. It's really important to understand how people are engaging with your brand. Instagram has some metrics in behind their platform, and Facebook does also, in their business profiles, to see how your business is engaging. You can use other tools like Hootsuite, Buffer, Social Sprout to augment that view. of who's engaging with your software and that who's engaging with you in social. Those are really fantastic tools to process, to use, allow you to schedule your posts and continue them on from here. Now, so the actions in this space is we want to share our social challenges with our team, but we want to be able to articulate our goals. So for example, your goal might be we know that our metric is we want to increase our ROI on our social media marketing spend. We want to reach some of this number of people. We want to have this many impressions. We want to have this larger conversion rate. You need to know those and be able to know the challenges that you're facing. We want to share the wins with our team. So it's really important that you can communicate those with your team. Tools like the Hootsuite, the Buffer, the Social Sprout will help you to measure those, measure your conversions and your interactions. So this is a little bit of a side, and I think we're going to probably run quite short because I can't see any questions. Okay, EJ, we've got a recommendation on posting software. Which do you use? Which is the best free options for those starting out? Hi, EJ. That's a good question. So the software that we use either Hootsuite or Buffer. They both have a free version to start with, and basically the way that they work, and I know that there are a number of them. The way that they work is you can preload your posts into the platform. So that way for example, we can sit here today on a public holiday and preload our social media posts for the next week and know that we've got 3 going out each day for the next week, and then you can jump in and augment the conversation with reactions, depending, reactions and interactions. I hope that answers that question, EJ. All right. So brand trust in the coronavirus pandemic. So this is new research that's just come out of the Edelman research company. They're researchers over, I think they're based out of the US, but basically they came up with 4 key insights looking at how brands should be reacting to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, they conducted the survey over, I think it's 12 countries, and presented their results. So these are some of the ideas that we would want to think about with our brands when we're thinking about them reacting to the coronavirus. So just bear with me. So show up and don't go dark. Basically, don't go dark, show up and do your part. Basically, as brands and as business owners, we have a really important role in our local community and national community, and broadly a global community, to show up and do our part. So it means that you're being able to, if you share resources, if you can share resources, if you can support other businesses or support the government in helping stamp out the coronavirus, this is a really important function for your brand to make sure that your brand is perceived in a very positive light. Don't act alone. There's strength in collaboration. So there's strength in collaborating with both the government and also fellow businesses. So it's really positive to see how businesses can work together to get through this brand. So it's really important that when you are how you work together to build business, build opportunities and create opportunities is strength in collaboration. So I know, for example, Paul, who's on the call, also set up the tradie group, and Paul, feel free to drop in a link if you're still here. There's an opportunity for collaboration between potential competitors or aligned businesses here. Solve, don't sell. So focus on solving some meaningful problems. So an example would be me being here today. I'm trying to help you grow your businesses by educating you around how best to use social media in 2020. Solve meaningful problems around that. Communicate with compassion. So positive brand actions create empathy. So if you were doing communicating with care and empathy, and being really authentic around your compassion, rather than in this time being in a full sell mode, you will be creating better brand engagements with your target consumers than you would be if you were still in that sell mode. So some stats around this. The communicate how you're helping. 89% of the public want to know how your brand is supporting and protecting their employees and customers. 88% want to be informed regarding changes of how your business is operating. So think about these as for your customers, and how to gain access to your products and services. So especially as we move to level 3 tomorrow, how can you communicate the changes in your operation to your customers? So are you going to be just working through video, or are you open for pickup and delivery, contactless pickup? How are you communicating those with your customers? Interestingly, this is one of these figures that's really interesting. 33% of people have convinced other people to stop using a brand that they felt was not acting appropriately in response to this pandemic. It's really, obviously that means it's really important that we respond to this this crisis with with compassion and empathy, rather than upsetting 33% of the people to stop using a particular product because our business wasn't acting appropriately. People are turning to brands that they trust during the coronavirus pandemic. They're returning to their staples and their stalwarts, 60%. Although, in saying that, 37% of people have recently started using a new brand because of the way that they've responded compassionately to the virus outbreak. So, to circle back to social media, COVID-19 has obviously changed, as we were talking about earlier, has changed a significant number of changed significantly how we are engaging on social media. This is globally, but this is and current for April. We are significantly watching more news coverage, up by 35%. We're watching significantly more films, 29%. We're spending significantly more time using messenger services, so that's Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. We're spending significantly more time using social media. That's up 23%. So we're watching significantly more TV on broadcast TV and television channels. But obviously what we're talking about today is the social media stuff. So people are using it more this month. A 23% increase. 23% of the population are using it significantly more. How is your brand responding, and how are you communicating with empathy and engaging your customers during this time? Have you thought about ways to share your messages and engage them? Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. We can see Paul's pasted the link. Okay, EJ, going back to a couple of questions here, and I'll answer these. So EJ's question is going back to posting time. He or she has a huge following in the Northern Hemisphere on Instagram, but want to build your local audience. How should I balance posting times? Great question, EJ. So I would not neglect your Northern Hemisphere audience at all. I would make sure that you're probably posting at both relevant times. I know if you're using an automated a scheduling platform like Hootsuite or Buffer, you can schedule your time depending on your times. So of course, there's the social proof of engagement. So the northern hemisphere people engaging with your posts are equally as important for gaining that southern hemisphere audience as well. I hope that answers it. Would you recommend using Facebook pixels, and how do you track the analytics? That is a fantastic question, Charlotte. We're not covering the pixel and analytics in this call. That's more paid. That more ties into paid advertising, but I will cover it really briefly here. So, a Facebook pixel is a little snippet of code that people use on their website or in apps or services to track people, the Facebook audience that are visiting your site or engaging with your content. So, so for example, have you ever known, and this is a rhetorical question, have you ever noticed when you visit a website, say for example, looking at watches, and then the website seems to follow you onto Facebook, and we see Facebook ads appearing alongside your newsfeed, or that particular brand has followed you onto Facebook. The Facebook pixel uses the fact that you visited that website to serve you relevant advertisements. As part of that, using the Facebook pixel, we can retarget audiences, which is a really, it can be a really powerful tool to use. And it also can help us introduce new new interested people to our brand. Again, it's more used. Again, this would be another discussion around social media advertising, not really in the broader social media presentation we presented today. But as part of the social media, as part of the pixel, you can gain analytical data, which is powerful. I use, when on our client sites, we use Facebook Pixel, and we also use Google Analytics to give us a really clear picture of our audience. I hope that answers that question, Charlotte. Right. So one of the other things that we, so that's, I think that pretty much wraps up where we were aiming to get to with the call. One of the other things that we haven't talked about is paid advertising, and we briefly talked about it then, is paid advertising and influencers. So influencers are a really powerful tool, and an influencer is a person with a significant following. So there are micro influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers, and then mega influencers with millions of followers. Interestingly, they are more trusted than news anchors as a source of brand information. Just to give you some, I thought it would be interesting just to share with you some pricing ideas around this. This is in US dollars. Facebook influencer pricing, you're looking at around $25 for 1,000 followers. Instagram influencers, you're talking, this is per post per 1,000 followers. So for example, if you had 100,000 followers, you'd be looking at $250 per post. Whereas, and at the high end, I have heard that Kim Kardashian charges $500,000 for a post. So there are scales. These might not necessarily be important for your brand, but something to think about. But I think that is about the end of the webinar, and I know that we've flied through that. So, any are there any questions? I'll bring that up to here. We can do a bit of a Q&A if anyone's got any questions. other questions? No, you're welcome, Charlotte. Yes, there will be a replay, EJ. If you visit the same URL in about 10 to 15 minutes, there will be a replay ready to go. It really depends on, Warwick, it really depends on the your audience. What's your target market? Just to give you an example, that TikTok video that I shared, which had 2.1 million views in the last, was posted on the 10th of month, 2 weeks. That had 2.1 million views and it was 15 seconds long. If you are delivering, information like this, we're going to push this video out to an hour. I will recycle this and put it onto our YouTube channel, and that will, if the content is engaging enough and it's relevant, engaging the right market, then it really depends. 30 seconds, 3 minutes. Oh, sorry, that's right. You're a beach market, the beach market. Yeah, exactly. So you could do content ideas for the market. You could do interview people. Interviews would be fantastic for the Paraparaumu beach market. So you could interview people who are there to purchase their weekly groceries. You could interview vendors. So first thing in the morning on a Saturday morning, you're Saturday morning, aren't you, I think? You could interview the people who are setting up their stalls and ask for their specials. You could go, hey, do a Facebook Live. Try this next time the market's running. Do a Facebook Live, interview three vendors would be perfect. Facebook Live, interview them, ask them what their specials are and what they'd recommend for the day. That would be the way that I would do it, once, assuming that the market's on. If you're doing the market virtually, you could do the same thing with a video call and do it that way. So, exactly. So the live radio, the live video will be the same. You could also do how to find us would be a fantastic one. So you could create a video showing how to get here. Where's a good place to park, and this is where we come to. This is what you're going to see, and how to engage in that way. You're welcome. Any other questions before I close this up? That's a good question around radio marketing. Radio is not my specialty, Paul. I would want to. Ultimately, social media is about, or social marketing is around building that conversation with your customers. So how can you, thinking about how, you could say at the end of your radio sting, follow us on Facebook, but that's just going to drive someone to Facebook. If it was me, I'd just end up going to Facebook and mucking around, right? Like looking at cat videos or something. Think about how you could do like a follow us to win, or some sort of engagement in that way, really thinking about taking that action from just seeing what we're about on Facebook to being part of a conversation on Facebook. You could also transfer it into think about how you could make the conversation around, is there some way you can build a community around what you're trying to do? Whether it's, tag someone, there's tag a person in need, for example. say, for example, you're selling ice creams and you know, follow, your radio sting might say something along the lines of, jump onto our Facebook page and tag a friend and they might win an ice cream or they get a free ice cream. I know that you don't do ice creams. Any other questions? Cool. I know that this was a little bit short, and I know that we had a little bit of a problem with the link being sent out earlier. The replay will be available here on this URL here. These webinars are brought to you by my company Leverage, so we help businesses grow online, and also the Kapiti Coast District Council. We will be running the How to Build a Website workshop again on Wednesday if you wanted to jump in on that. And replays will be here. If you'd like to reach out and book a call with myself, you can jump on our website lvrg.nz or email me, and I'll put my email address here. Other than that, I hope you have got some value out of this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Hey, thanks for the positive feedback, Paul. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, EJ. Thanks, Warwick. Thanks, Katie. I'm glad it was very helpful. Yeah, please, thanks, Donna. Please don't hesitate to reach out, guys. I really, I'm all about helping local businesses grow. So let's talk soon. All right. Bye, everyone.